We're an advocacy organization that looks to transform communities by promoting bicycling. It's one of the older organizations. We've been around for 20 years. This is our 20th year. And like a lot of groups across the country, we're enmeshed in the battle of looking at the right-of-way and the space that's out there and trying to recover space for bicycles to reduce car use, but also to just change the way our cities are designed and prioritized. But transit is a much more complicated, nuanced issue and is serving us as bicyclists as well. So what I wanted to do was just say, we can't be picking each other off, particularly in a time when others are trying to pick us off. Funding is tight. There's no new revenue for transportation in general. Republicans are in control of the House and they're fighting with the Democrats, so this is not a good time, whether there's any good time for us to be fighting against each other. We need to build a bigger coalition. If you look at what we need to accomplish in terms of changing the landscape of the roads, it's not enough. We don't have enough bicyclists to get enough votes. Portland has probably the highest level of bicycling of any major city, and that's under 6% of the population that are biking on a regular basis on trips every trip. So that's not a majority vote. Right? If I'm going to get real, true community power and will, I need to get a larger coalition. And that coalition. So we're looking for partnerships with transit advocates, pedestrian advocates, in some cases freight advocates, to say how can we look at space, create a complex network, but that also works for all of us. About 6-7 years ago, there was really one or two organizations that were multimodal, Transportation Alternatives in New York City being the lead. So there were some folks thinking about it. The organization I just came from went through a whole analysis through a strategic plan and realized that there was just so much we could do as a bicycle advocacy organization, and there was so much more we could do as a pedestrian and transit and bicycle organization. Our partnership with transit isn't just about partnering with leaders inside transit. It's partnering with communities that use transit and that are seriously impacted by either cuts or how transit runs. One of the things that we face within the bike community is a criticism that we're white, that we're too white, that we're all white men, and that bicycle lanes and bicycle facilities are really only promoting a service for a small portion, and that's not true. There are people that are biking throughout the city. There are people that are biking in a variety of minority demographics, ages, etc., particularly in Portland, and we see that. But we're perceived as being white. We want to find partnerships within communities of color, particularly underserved communities, that can help us build a broader perspective. And if we only approach it from a bike perspective, we're going to lose. We're not even going to be able to open up the door. I'm not going to be able to open up the door of a church, for example, if all I'm talking about is bicycling. But I'm talking about access to that church so that people can get to and from the church on a regular basis, or their constituents can get to and from work, and looking at the full network. That opens up a door to a conversation that's going to be great for bicyclists. I want to be able to go from here to Seattle, as every once in a while I want to be able to go to visit my brother in Monterey. So I can't bike there easily or quickly, and I can't take TriMet there. So having that full network and doing it in a way that has a small impact on the environment is important to me. So those pieces are part of that full network. I see that element, that Amtrak, the high-speed rail component as well, as being part of the full solution for bicyclists to have mobility. In some ways, Amtrak is easy. They allow you to pack a bike. It's relatively inexpensive to travel through that. Once you get to your place, your destination point, if you've got a bike, you're actually much more mobile than a lot of tourists and a lot of folks that are stuck in where they go. If a train gets stuck and it's going to be there for a few hours and you have the ability to leave the train, you can actually experience the little town that you're in. There are things that you could do that are really exciting on a bike and experience the countryside, the world, the love that America is. So that's always kind of a real exciting piece, and you don't have to do it by touring, by biking across the country, the 2,000 miles that some people get up and do and take some months and months to do. Yeah. So I think it's a great combination and exciting to see some of the new improvements.